The shelter smelled faintly of soap and wet fur, the kind of clean that tried its best to cover old stories. Lena stood near the adoption desk, hands tucked into her coat sleeves, listening to the steady hum of heaters and the distant shuffle of paws on concrete. She had only meant to look. Just one quiet walk down the aisle of kennels before heading home. Most dogs watched her with polite curiosity. A few barked once or twice. Then she reached the last row. A sandy-colored dog rose slowly, tail still, eyes wide. Instead of barking, he let out a thin, trembling whine. It wasn't loud. It wasn't demanding. It sounded careful. As Lena took a step closer, the dog pressed his nose through the bars and whined again, longer this time, as if trying to speak in a language only he knew. Her chest tightened. "Hey, buddy," she whispered, unsure why her voice shook. The dog sat, then stood, then sat again, paws lifting and dropping like he couldn't decide what to do with them. His ears flattened. His tail never wagged. He only stared at her and whimpered, eyes glossy with something that looked dangerously close to relief. A volunteer noticed. "He doesn't do that," she said softly. "He's been silent for weeks." Lena backed up a step, startled. The dog panicked, scratching once at the gate, whining harder, body pressed forward as if afraid she might vanish. Heat rushed to her face. Her heart beat too fast. Why did it feel like she was the one being chosen? The staff gathered behind her, watching the dog's strange insistence. But what the dog sensed was far from ordinary. Before we continue, remember to like, share, and subscribe for more heart-touching dog stories. And tell me, where are you watching from? The shelter opened with a soft mechanical sigh. Metal doors slid apart. Warm air met cold. Morning light spilled across the concrete floor in pale stripes, catching dust in the air like slow-moving stars. Inside, the day began the same way it always did. A volunteer walked past with a bucket and mop. Another checked clipboards at the front desk. Somewhere in the back, a radio played low. An old country song that sounded tired but kind. Dogs shifted in their kennels. A few thumped their tails. Most stayed quiet. The building smelled of disinfectant and damp fur, and something faintly sweet from the bakery next door. Lena stood just inside the entrance. Her coat was still zipped. Her hands stayed in the pockets. She hadn't planned to come. She'd been driving home from the grocery store when she saw the sign. Adoption Day, all fees waived. She told herself she would only look. Just a walkthrough. Just a few minutes. The shelter felt warmer than outside, but quieter than she expected. No chaos. No barking storms. Only small sounds. Paws shifting. Tags tapping metal. A soft whine from somewhere far down the hall. Lena walked slowly between the first row of kennels. Most of the dogs lifted their heads when they saw her. Some wagged politely. Some pressed their noses to the bars. One barked once as if clearing its throat. She smiled at them in passing. She always did. But she didn't stop. She hadn't stopped anywhere in months. Her apartment had been too quiet lately. Her evenings too long. Work filled the days. Silence filled the rest. The second row of kennels was brighter. Sunlight reached farther here. A volunteer was kneeling, refilling water bowls. "Morning," Lena said softly. The woman looked up and smiled. "Morning." They both spoke the same way people did in libraries. Lena continued down the aisle. Near the end, the hallway narrowed. The air felt cooler. The last kennel sat slightly apart from the others. Its occupant lay curled against the back wall. Sandy-colored fur. Medium-sized. Ears folded back. Eyes half closed. The dog didn't rise when she approached. Didn't bark. Didn't wag. Lena slowed without realizing it. She stopped 2 steps from the gate. The dog lifted his head. Slowly. His eyes met hers. They were dark. Not scared. Not excited. Just alert. Then he stood. Not fast. Not stiff. Just careful. And he made a sound. A thin whine. Soft. Almost swallowed by the air. Lena blinked. "Hey," she whispered. The dog took 1 step forward. Then another. His tail stayed low. His ears tilted outward. The whine came again, longer this time. It wasn't pleading. It wasn't loud. It sounded like something being remembered. Lena crouched slightly. Her chest tightened. She hadn't expected to feel anything. Not today. The dog pressed his nose between the bars, breathing quick, eyes wide. She reached out slowly. Didn't touch. Just hovered her hand near the gate. The dog sat. Stood. Sat again. His paws lifted and set down as if the floor were moving beneath him. The whine turned into a faint tremble in his throat. Behind her, footsteps paused. He's making noise? Lena turned. The volunteer from earlier stood a few feet away, watching. He is that bad? Lena asked. The woman shook her head. No. It's just, he hasn't done that. Hasn't done what? Reacted to anyone. The dog whined again. Longer. His body leaned forward. His tail didn't move. He wasn't asking to play. He wasn't guarding. He was reaching. I didn't mean to upset him, Lena said. She stepped back once. The dog panicked. His paws scraped the floor. He pressed his chest against the bars. The whine sharpened. Louder now. Not barking. Not growling. Just sound shaped like need. Lena froze. I'm sorry, she said, not sure who she meant. The volunteer walked closer. He's been here 3 weeks, she said quietly. Barely eats when people are around. Doesn't look up. Doesn't make noise. The dog stared past the woman. Straight at Lena. The shelter seemed to hold its breath. The radio song faded. Somewhere a door closed. Lena's throat felt tight. She hadn't come for this. She came to look. To feel normal. But this didn't feel random. Felt directed. He only does that when I move? Lena asked. The volunteer nodded. Looks like it. Lena stepped closer again. Slow. The dog's whine softened. He leaned his head sideways. One ear twitched. His breathing slowed just a little. What's his name? Lena asked. The volunteer hesitated. We haven't found one that fits yet. The dog sat. His tail touched the floor. Still. Lena crouched lower. Her knees protested. She didn't care. Her hand rested on the bars. The dog leaned his nose into her fingers. Didn't lick. Didn't push. Just rested there. Warm. Real. Her eyes stung. She blinked hard. I don't understand, she said. The volunteer didn't answer. She didn't need to. The dog's body spoke instead. Ears low. Eyes soft. Weight forward. Waiting. Lena stayed there longer than she planned. The hallway filled again. Voices passed. Footsteps echoed. But the small space between her and the dog felt sealed off. Like a room inside a room. Eventually Lena stood. I should go, she said. The dog stiffened. She stepped back. He whined. Not loud. But urgent now. Like a warning. Her heart pounded. She turned to the volunteer. I don't know why he's doing this. The woman shook her head slowly. Neither do we. The dog pressed against the gate again, breathing fast. His eyes never left Lena. Something in her shifted. A quiet pull. Not excitement. Not fear. Recognition. The kind that comes without words. Behind her, the shelter door opened again. Cold air rushed in. Someone laughed. Life continued. But the dog stayed where he was, waiting. And Lena stayed where she stood, unsure why she hadn't moved. Because whatever the dog sensed had already found her. Lena didn't leave right away. She told herself she would. She even turned toward the exit. But her feet stopped after 2 steps. Behind her, the dog whined again. Not loud. Not sharp. Just steady like a thread being pulled tight. She turned back. The dog had shifted his body sideways, pressing one shoulder against the kennel gate. His ears stayed low. His eyes followed her carefully. Not excited. Not afraid. Focused. The volunteer leaned against the wall nearby. You okay? She asked. I think so, Lena said. Her voice sounded thin to her own ears. She stepped closer again. The dog's breathing changed immediately. Slower. Deeper. His tail lifted just enough to brush the floor once. That small movement felt enormous. The volunteer frowned slightly. That's new. Lena knelt. The concrete was cold through her jeans. The dog leaned his head forward until his nose touched the metal bar again. A quiet sound left him, not a whine this time. More like a breath. A held sound. Like he didn't want to startle her away. I didn't do anything, Lena said. I just walked up. The volunteer nodded. Yeah. And he noticed. They stood like that for a moment. Human on one side. Dog on the other. The shelter moved around them. A cart rolled past. A door opened and shut. Somewhere, a puppy barked in a high, hopeful voice. But this kennel stayed still. The dog didn't look away. Lena shifted her weight. His ears twitched. She lifted her hand an inch. He leaned forward. Not fast. Not desperate. Careful. Like he was afraid the moment might disappear. Can I sit here? Lena asked. You already are, the volunteer said softly. The dog lowered himself to the floor. Front legs stretched out. Head up. Watching. His posture wasn't tense. It was attentive. Like a student waiting for a teacher to speak. Lena swallowed. She felt oddly exposed. Like something had seen through her coat and skin and into the quiet place underneath. I lost my dog last year, she said suddenly. She hadn't planned to say it. The words just came out. The volunteer glanced at her. I'm sorry. Lena nodded once. He was old. It wasn't sudden. She looked at the dog again. He used to sit like that. The dog blinked slowly. His eyes softened. A staff member approached from the front desk. What's going on back here? The volunteer gestured toward Lena and the kennel. He's reacting to her. The staff member peered in. The dog lifted his head higher. Whined softly. Just once. He doesn't usually vocalize, the staff member said. Lena stood. The dog rose too. She took a step back. His body stiffened. Whine. Not panic. But concern. Like a question. Is he okay? Lena asked. The staff member shrugged. He was pulled from a hoarding situation. Lots of dogs. Not much human handling. So trauma. Probably. The dog stared past the staff member. Straight at Lena. His ears tipped forward just a little. What happens if I walk away? Lena asked. The volunteer hesitated. Try it. Lena took 2 slow steps backward. The dog followed the movement with his whole body. He pressed his chest to the gate. The whine grew louder. His paws scraped the floor. Not frantic, but urgent. Lena stopped. His sound softened immediately. He sat. Like he just completed a task. The staff member raised an eyebrow. That's specific. Lena laughed once. Nervously. I didn't mean to cause trouble. You're not, the volunteer said. You're just, apparently important. The word felt strange. Important. To a dog she had met 2 minutes ago. She crouched again. The dog leaned forward. Their distance closed. Metal bars between them. Warm breath. Cold air. Can he come out? Lena asked. The volunteer looked at the staff member. He's been shut down with people, the staff member said. We don't want to push him. The dog whined again. Low. Steady. The sound vibrated against Lena's chest. He doesn't look shut down right now, she said. They stood in silence. The dog shifted his weight from one paw to the other. A sign of nerves. But he didn't retreat. Okay, the staff member said. Leash only. Let's see what he does. The volunteer unlocked the gate. Metal clicked. The dog froze. Eyes wide. He didn't bolt. Didn't bark. He waited. The door swung open. The leash slid over his head. He trembled just a little. Lena stayed where she was. She didn't reach. Didn't speak. She breathed. The dog stepped out. One paw. Then another. He paused. Looked around. Then looked back at her. His tail stayed low. But it moved. Just once. She felt her heart twist. "Hi," she said. He took one step toward her. Stopped. Listen. Then another. He stood close enough that she could see the faint scar near his ear. She could smell the shampoo on his fur. Clean. Citrus. He lifted his head. Pressed his nose against her knee. Didn't lean fully. Didn't jump. Just touched. The volunteer inhaled sharply. He hasn't done that with anyone. Lena didn't move. She didn't want to break the shape of the moment. The dog exhaled. Long. His body lowered. Not into a sit. Not into a lie. Into a rest. His head stayed near her leg. Like he was borrowing steadiness. The staff member knelt nearby. "Okay, buddy. Easy." The dog flicked one ear. Didn't move away. Lena felt heat behind her eyes. She blinked it back. "I don't think he thinks I'm a stranger," she said. The words surprised her. The volunteer nodded slowly. "That's what it looks like." The dog's breathing evened out. His tail touched the floor. Still. Not tense. Present. They stayed that way for several minutes. No one spoke. The hallway sounds returned. Footsteps. Voices. The radio song changed. But the small circle around Lena and the dog felt suspended. Eventually the staff member stood. "We should put him back before he gets overwhelmed." The leash tightened gently. The dog looked up at Lena. Not panicked. Just asking. "I'll come back," she said without thinking. The dog's ears lifted. Just a little. He walked back into the kennel without resisting. The gate closed. Metal clicked. He sat. And waited. Lena stood. Her hands were shaking. "I didn't plan to." "None of us did," the volunteer said. The dog pressed his nose to the bars again. Whine. Soft. Long. Not for the staff. Not for the hallway. Only for her. Lena backed away slowly. His whine followed. She stopped. It softened. Her heart beat too fast. This wasn't random. It didn't feel like coincidence. It felt like memory trying to speak without language. She turned toward the exit. The dog stayed still. Watching. When the door opened and cold air rushed in, he whined again. And this time the sound carried. Not fear. Not anger. But recognition. Something old. Something gentle. And something that hadn't yet been explained. Lena didn't go straight home. She sat in her car for several minutes with the engine off. Hands resting on the steering wheel. Breath fogging the windshield. The shelter door closed behind her with a soft click. But the sound of the dog's whine stayed in her ears. Not loud. Not sharp. Just there. Like a question that hadn't been answered. She stared at the dashboard. "This is ridiculous," she said aloud. She had gone in to look. She had left feeling chosen. That didn't make sense. She drove home slowly. Traffic lights felt brighter than usual. Pedestrians looked distant. Her apartment smelled faintly of laundry soap and yesterday's coffee. Normal. Too normal. She dropped her keys in the bowl by the door. Her phone buzzed with a work email. She didn't open it. Instead, she sat on the couch and pressed her palms into her knees. The dog's eyes kept appearing in her mind. Not scared. Not wild. Waiting. "He probably does that with lots of people," she said to the empty room. It sounded logical. Comforting. She made tea. Watched the steam rise. Still saw the dog. By late afternoon she was back in her car. She told herself she needed to return a library book near the shelter. She did not tell herself the truth. The shelter looked the same as it had that morning. Sun lower now. Light slanting through the windows. The volunteer at the desk recognized her. "Oh, you're back." Lena smiled awkwardly. "I just wanted to check on him." The volunteer nodded. "He's been quiet since you left." They walked together down the hallway. Footsteps echoed softly. Kennels passed. Barking rose and fell like waves. The last kennel came into view. The sandy-colored dog lay curled against the back wall again. Ears low. Eyes half closed. He looked like he had earlier. Still. Small. Disconnected. Lena stopped. The dog lifted his head. The change was immediate. Ears shifted forward. Body unfolded. He stood. The whine came. Soft. Long. Directed. Lena's stomach dropped. See, she whispered. The volunteer crossed her arms. That's exactly what he did this morning. A staff member approached with a tablet. You're the one, he said. The one what? The one he reacts to. Lena shook her head. I don't think that means anything. The dog pressed his nose to the bars. Breathing quick. Eyes fixed. I think I just remind him of someone, she said. Or he wants out. Or something. The staff member tapped the screen. He ignores everyone else. Another volunteer joined them. Watch. She walked toward the kennel. The dog's eyes followed her for a second, then drifted back to Lena. The volunteer crouched. Spoke softly. The dog did not whine. Did not move. Did not lean. Lena stepped forward half a step. The dog shifted closer. Whine. Again. The staff exchanged glances. This isn't typical stress behavior, the staff member said. This is selective. Lena crossed her arms. It doesn't mean it's about me. It means it's about you to him. That's not the same thing. The dog's tail lifted just enough to brush the floor. He wasn't trying to escape. He wasn't guarding. He wasn't shutting down. He was choosing. Lena knelt again. Her jeans met cold concrete. She felt exposed, like standing under a bright light. Maybe he's confusing me with someone else, she said. Maybe he had an owner who looked like me. The staff member scrolled. No previous owner. He came in with 12 other dogs from the same house. Then maybe he's reacting to my coat. Or my voice. The volunteer tilted her head. You haven't said much. The dog leaned forward. Nose touching metal. Breath warm. His eyes softened. Not desperate. Just steady. Dogs remember patterns, Lena said. They smell things. They hear things. They react. The staff member nodded. True. So this doesn't have to mean something. Silence sat between them. The dog whined again. Longer this time. Not louder. More certain. The staff member sighed. We're trained to look for stress, fear, overstimulation. And, Lena asked, and this doesn't fit. What does it fit? Attachment behavior. The word made her chest tighten. That's too fast, she said. He doesn't know me. The volunteer crouched near the kennel. Some dogs don't need time. They need recognition. The dog lowered his head, rested his chin near the bars. A gesture of trust. Lena swallowed. Can we test it? She asked. The staff member raised an eyebrow. How? I'll walk away again. They watched as Lena stood. 1 step back. The dog rose. Whine. 2 steps back. The dog pressed his chest to the bars. 3 steps back. The whine sharpened. Not frantic, but insistent. Okay, she said. She stepped forward. The dog relaxed. Saturday. Breathing slowed. That's not coincidence, the staff member said quietly. Lena shook her head. It still could be. The volunteer smiled gently. You really want it to be. I don't want to make up meaning where there isn't any. The dog tilted his head. Ears angled. Questioning look. He could get attached and then be left again, Lena said. That's not fair to him. The staff member nodded. That's a real concern. Lena stayed kneeling. The dog stayed leaning. Between them, metal bars and warm breath. Has he reacted to any other visitors today? She asked. No, the volunteer said. Not even kids. That surprised her. Kids always got reactions. The dog's tail brushed the floor once. Slow. Lena stood again. Her knees ached. I need time to think. The dog whined. Soft. Not alarmed. Just disappointed. I don't want to be special if it hurts him later, she said. The staff member nodded. That's responsible. The volunteer touched Lena's arm. You don't have to decide today. Lena looked at the dog. He watched her. Not pleading. Not panicking. Trusting. I don't think he knows what adoption is, she said. He just knows you. The hallway filled with footsteps again. Someone laughed near the front desk. A leash jingled. Life went on. The dog stayed focused. Like the room had narrowed to one point. Lena backed away slowly. The dog did not press this time. He sat. And waited. Her chest hurt. Not sharp. Dull. Like holding something too long. At the door she turned once more. The dog lifted his head. Didn't whine. Didn't move. Just watched. As if storing the image. As if memorizing. Lena stepped outside. Cold air met her face. She inhaled. The shelter door closed behind her. And for the first time, the dog did not make a sound. Not because he didn't feel, but because he had learned something. That she would come back. Lena returned the next morning. Earlier than she meant to. The sky was still pale, washed thin with winter light. The air smelled like frost and distant traffic. She told herself she was only checking. Only making sure he was okay. The shelter doors opened with the same soft mechanical sigh. Inside, the radio played something slow and acoustic. A volunteer looked up from the desk. You're early, she said. Lena nodded. I just wanted to see him. They walked down the hallway together. The kennels were quieter at this hour. Most dogs were still curled in on themselves, dreaming. The last kennel came into view. The sandy-colored dog lay in the same place as before. Back wall. Head down. Still. Lena slowed. Her steps echoed softly. The dog lifted his head. The change happened in stages. Ears first. Then eyes. Then the slow unfolding of his body. He stood. The whine came soft, steady, unmistakable. Lena stopped breathing for a second. It's happening again, the volunteer murmured. The dog moved closer to the bars. Tail low. Body forward. The sound in his throat wasn't louder than yesterday, but it was more certain. Like he had learned something overnight. Good morning, Lena whispered. The dog's ears tipped toward her voice. He leaned his nose between the bars. Breathing faster now. She crouched. He mirrored her. Front legs stretched. Head up. Watching. The volunteer crossed her arms. He didn't do that for the delivery guy. He didn't. Lena asked. No reaction at all. A staff member came down the hallway with a clipboard. Already, he said when he saw Lena. You're popular. I don't think that's the right word, she said. They stood together watching the dog. Every small movement Lena made, he tracked. If she leaned right, his head followed. If she shifted back, he rose. When she stepped closer, his body softened. When she stepped away, tension crept back into his shoulders. He's reading you, the staff member said. He's depending on her, the volunteer added. Lena shook her head. That can't be healthy. The dog whined again. A little louder. A little longer. Not panicked, but layered with urgency. Has he eaten this morning? Lena asked. The staff member checked the clipboard. Not much. The volunteer filled a bowl and slid it into the kennel. The dog didn't look at it. Didn't sniff. Didn't move toward it. He stayed fixed on Lena. That's new, the volunteer said. He usually eats first thing. Lena's chest tightened. She stood. Took one step back. The dog rose. Whine. 2 steps back. The dog pressed his chest to the bars. His paws scraped the floor. Not frantic, but determined. Okay, she said quickly. I'm here. She stepped forward again. The dog settled. Saturday. His breathing slowed. He glanced once at the food bowl, then back at her. The staff member frowned. He's prioritizing you over food. That's not good, Lena said. That means he's not regulating. The volunteer nodded. He's not self-soothing. They all watched him. His ears twitched at every sound, but his eyes stayed on Lena. The shelter grew louder as the morning moved on. Voices. Doors. Leashes. The dog's behavior changed with the noise. When people passed the kennel, he tensed. When Lena stayed close, he relaxed. When she stepped away to talk to staff, the whine returned. Steady, persistent. Pattern was forming. Lena felt it. So did they. He's getting more attached, she said. And faster. The staff member sighed. This isn't how we usually see bonding happen. What is it usually? Lena asked. Gradual. Curiosity. Play. Food motivation. And this is recognition. The word sat heavy. Lena rubbed her arms. I don't want to become the only thing that makes him calm. The dog lay down. Head near the bars. Eyes on her. He wasn't shaking. He wasn't pacing. He was waiting. Waiting can be harder than panic. I'll take him out for a short walk, the staff member said. See what he does. The leash went on. The gate opened. The dog stepped out slowly. He paused. Looked back at the kennel. Then at Lena. He walked past the staff member. Straight toward her. Stopped inches away. Pressed his head gently against her leg. No jumping. No pawing. Just contact. Lena's breath caught. The volunteer's hand flew to her mouth. He didn't even look at me, she whispered. The staff member steadied the leash. Easy, buddy. The dog stood there for a moment longer, then allowed himself to be guided away. He walked stiffly, not pulling, but checking behind him every few steps. His ears angled backward, listening for her. They walked out of sight. The whine did not stop. It echoed faintly down the hallway, a sound shaped like worry. Lena leaned against the wall. I think I'm making it worse. The volunteer shook her head. You're revealing something. What if he panics when I leave? That's what we need to see. When the dog returned, his body was tense. Tail low, breathing quick. He went straight back into the kennel. Ignored the water bowl. Ignored the staff member. Went to the bars. To Lena. The whine returned. Stronger. Not loud, but thicker. Like it had weight now. He didn't relax outside, the staff member said quietly. He relaxed with you. Lena knelt again. Her knees didn't protest this time. Her body felt pulled forward. I don't want to hurt him, she said. You're not, the volunteer said. You're showing us what he needs. The dog leaned closer, rested his chin near the bars. A trust gesture, a vulnerable one. Lena held her hand near his face. Didn't touch. Just let him feel it there. He closed his eyes for 1 second, then opened them again. The shelter kept moving around them, but something inside this small space had changed. The dog was no longer just reacting. He was waiting for her, depending on her presence to regulate his world. And that made the mystery heavier. Not dramatic, not loud, just deep. Whatever had started as a strange reaction was becoming a pattern, and patterns once formed rarely let go easily. By the third day, everyone at the shelter knew. They didn't say it out loud, but they watched. They paused in the hallway when Lena arrived. They slowed near the last kennel. They noticed the timing. The dog didn't lift his head for anyone else, didn't whine, didn't rise. But when Lena stepped into view, ears lifted, body unfolded, breath changed. The sound came, soft, certain. Lena felt it before she saw it now, like a current in the air. She knelt in front of the kennel. The dog leaned forward, nose to bars, breathing fast then slower. Hi, she whispered. His tail brushed the floor once. The staff member with the tablet stopped beside her. We pulled more intake records, he said. Lena looked up. More. From animal control. From the original call. The dog's ears flicked at his voice, but his eyes stayed on Lena. They didn't give us much at first, the staff member said. Just multiple dogs, unsanitary conditions. He crouched too. So we asked for the full report. Lena's chest tightened. Did something happen to him? Not in the way you're thinking. The staff member tapped the screen. There was one person in that house who handled the dogs. An owner. A caretaker. The dog shifted his weight. His posture wasn't anxious. It was alert, listening with his body. A woman, the staff member continued. Middle-aged. Quiet. Didn't speak much to officers. Lena felt a strange pressure in her throat. She wasn't abusive? No. According to neighbors, she fed them, cleaned them, slept near them. Then why were they removed? She got sick. The word landed gently, but it carried weight. Hospitals, the staff member said. Long term. Lena looked back at the dog. He watched her like the answer was already known. She wore a coat like yours, the staff member added. Same color. Same length. Lena glanced down at her sleeve. Gray wool. Old. Her sister's. She moved slowly, he said. Used to kneel when she talked to them. Lena's knees pressed into the concrete. She had a dog that looked like him, the staff member said. Same coloring. Same size. The dog whined. Soft. A sound like air leaving something hollow. She passed away 2 months before the dogs were found, the staff member said. The hallway felt quieter. Not because it was, but because Lena stopped hearing it. So he lost her, Lena said. Yes. And then lost his home. And then lost the rest of his pack. The dog leaned closer. His nose touched the bars near her hand. Lena held still. Her pulse felt loud in her ears. She used to sit on the floor with them, the staff member said. Neighbors saw it through the window. Lena swallowed. She had trouble standing, he continued. She'd stay low. Talk softly. The dog's eyes softened. His ears tilted outward. Recognition, not fear. She wore her hair pulled back, the staff member said. Spoke in short sentences. Lena felt the pieces settle. Not click. Not snap. Settle. Like snow. I walk slowly, she said. The staff member nodded. I know. I kneel when I talk to dogs. I've noticed. The dog whined again. Short. Low. Like a breath of relief. I lost someone too, Lena said. The words surprised her. Not because they weren't true. Because she hadn't planned them. My mother, she added. She got sick. I moved back to help. The staff member stayed quiet. She had a dog, Lena said. He slept by her bed. Stayed near her chair. The dog shifted closer. The bars pressed lightly against his chest. When she died, I kept him, Lena said. Until he died too. The dog blinked slowly. A calming signal. You smell like her, the staff member said gently. Not literally, but something like it. Lena's eyes burned. She didn't wipe them. So he's not choosing me, she said. He's recognizing a pattern of safety. The dog rested his chin near the bars again. Trust. He doesn't know your face, the staff member said. He knows your shape, your movement, your sound. Lena exhaled. Long. So I'm not special. You're familiar. The word felt kinder. The volunteer joined them. You found something? The staff member nodded. Connection. The volunteer looked at the dog. At Lena. He lost someone who looked like her. The volunteer's mouth softened. That explains the waiting. The dog's body eased. Like something inside him had found its place again. Lena sat fully now. Back against the kennel wall. I didn't want to mean something to him if it wasn't real, she said. It's real, the staff member replied. It's just not about destiny. It's about memory. The dog's breathing slowed. His tail touched the floor. Still. So what happens now? Lena asked. That depends on you. The weight of it settled in her chest. He's not just reacting anymore, the volunteer said. He's anchoring. Lena closed her eyes for a moment. Saw her mother's chair. Her old dog's head resting on the arm. The quiet. The waiting. He thinks I'm the person who didn't come back, she said. The staff member nodded slowly. Or the person who did. Lena reached out. This time she touched the bars. The dog leaned into her hand. Just slightly. Warm. Alive. Not desperate. Not demanding. Just present. I don't want him to wait forever, she said. He won't, the volunteer said. Not if you decide what kind of ending he gets. The shelter hummed around them. A door opened. A laugh drifted in. Life kept moving. But inside this narrow space, something old had been named. Not tragedy. Not magic. Memory. And memory, once understood, could become a bridge. Not a wound. The dog stayed where he was, breathing slow, eyes on her. Not because he didn't know who she was, but because she felt like someone he already trusted. They waited until the shelter quieted again. Not closing time, but close enough that the hallway felt wider. Fewer footsteps, fewer voices, more space for breathing. The dog lay near the front of the kennel now, not pressed to the bars, not withdrawn, resting in between, a place of balance. Lena sat on the floor outside the gate, back against the wall, knees drawn up. The dog's eyes followed every small movement of her hands. His ears angled toward her breathing. You don't have to decide today, the volunteer said softly. I think I already am, Lena replied. The staff member came with the leash. Moved slowly. No sudden gestures. The gate opened with a careful click. The dog froze. His body stiffened for 1 second. Not fear. Not flight. Decision. He looked at Lena. She didn't reach. Didn't call. She just stayed. Breathing steady. The leash slipped over his head. Light pressure. He stepped out. Paused. The hallway smelled different out here. Stronger. Cleaner. New layers of sound. He blinked. Listen. Then he turned. Walked straight to Lena. Stopped close enough that his shoulder brushed her knee. She inhaled. Didn't move. Didn't grab. Just existed beside him. The staff member loosened the leash. The dog lowered his head. Not into her lap. Not fully against her. Just close enough to feel her warmth. His breathing slowed. His tail touched the floor once. Then stayed still. The volunteer whispered, He's grounding. Lena nodded. I feel it. They let him stay there. Not long. Just long enough for the moment to shape itself. Then the staff member guided him gently toward the small visiting room. A space with soft light. A mat on the floor. A chair against the wall. The door closed behind them. Quiet wrapped around them. The dog stood in the center of the room. Ears shifting. Nose lifting. He sniffed the air. Then looked at Lena. She sat on the mat. Slow. Deliberate. She kept her hands in her lap. Didn't reach. Didn't invite. The dog took 1 step forward. Stopped. Listen. Another step. Stopped. His paws made faint sounds on the mat. He lowered himself carefully. Not fully lying down. Front legs bent. Back end still raised. A halfway posture. Caution and trust sharing the same body. It's okay, Lena said. Not to him. To the room. The dog's ears flicked. He leaned forward. Rested his chin near her knee. Not touching. Hovering. A question. Lena placed her hand on the floor beside him. Palm down. Still. The dog's nose brushed her fingers. A breath. Then another. He pressed his chin into her hand. The contact was light. Like he was testing gravity. Lena closed her eyes. The room felt warmer. Smaller. Safer. He's choosing, the staff member whispered. The dog shifted. Lowered the rest of his body. Lay fully down. His head stayed near her hand. His breathing deepened. Not sleep. Not collapse. Relief. Lena felt her chest tighten. Tears gathered without asking permission. She didn't wipe them. Didn't sniff. She let them be part of the moment. The dog lifted his head. Looked at her face. Then lowered it again. Not concerned. Just checking. The staff member crouched. We don't see this often, he said quietly. Not like this. Lena nodded. He's not scared anymore. No. He's resolved. They stayed in the room for several minutes. No commands. No tricks. No photos. Just space. Eventually the dog shifted again. He stood. Walked toward the door. Then stopped. Turned back. Looked at Lena. She rose slowly. Her knees ached. Her body felt heavy and light at the same time. They walked back down the hallway together. The leash was loose. The dog didn't pull. Didn't lag. He matched her pace. Slow. Even. When they reached his kennel, he paused. Looked inside. Then looked at her. Lena knelt. Touched the bars. "I won't leave you waiting," she said. The dog stepped inside without protest. Saturday. Ears forward. Not tense. Not collapsed. Centered. The gate closed. Metal clicked. He did not whine. He did not press against the bars. He stayed seated, watching her, understanding something without words. The staff member exhaled. That was different. "It felt like a goodbye," Lena said. He shook his head. "No. It felt like a promise." Lena stood. Her legs felt steady. Her heart did not. "I want to start the process," she said. The volunteer smiled. "Paperwork is less poetic." "I know." They walked back to the front desk. The shelter sounded normal again. Phones rang. A dog barked. A door opened. But something inside Lena felt aligned. Not dramatic. Not sudden. Just correct. Before she left, she turned once more. Down the long hallway. The dog sat in the same spot. Not waiting. Not calling. Just being. Their eyes met. He did not move. But his tail brushed the floor once. Slow. Like a signature. The first week was quiet. Not peaceful. Just careful. Lena named him Rowan. It felt right in her mouth. Soft. Steady. Rowan arrived with a blanket that smelled like disinfectant and other dogs. Lena spread it on the living room floor beside the couch. The apartment smelled like clean wood and coffee. Familiar to her. Foreign to him. Rowan stood just inside the doorway. Leash still on. Ears angled back. Tail low. He did not explore. Did not pace. He simply stood and watched. Like he was waiting for permission from the room itself. "It's okay," Lena said. Not too loud. Not too soft. The way her mother used to speak when pain was near. Rowan took one step forward. Then stopped. "Listen." A car passed outside. He flinched. Lena sat on the couch. Didn't move toward him. Didn't coax. She just stayed. Breathing steady. Rowan lowered himself onto the blanket. Curled his legs under him. Not fully lying down. Just ready. The first night he did not sleep. He rested. Ears twitching. Eyes opening at every sound. The refrigerator hum. The heater click. A neighbor's door closing. Each noise passed through him like a ripple. Lena lay on the couch. Not in her bed. So he wouldn't be alone. She watched his chest rise and fall. Slow. Uneven. Then steadier. In the morning he ate half his food. Then stopped. Saturday. Looked at her. "Good job," she said. Not like praise. Like acknowledgement. He drank water in small sips. Went outside slowly. Sniffed the cold grass like it might disappear. The walks were short. Around the block. Past the mailbox. Past the tree with the broken branch. Rowan walked close to her leg. Not touching. Not pulling. Matching her stride. If she slowed, he slowed. If she stopped, he stopped. People passed. He noticed. Didn't react. Just checked in with his eyes. "Hi," a neighbor said once. Rowan leaned slightly into Lena's leg. Not hiding. Grounding. The days stacked gently. Rowan learned the sound of the kettle. The click of her keys. The time the sun hit the kitchen floor. He chose a spot near the window. Not on the couch. Not in the bedroom. A place where he could see both. Lena noticed he relaxed when she knelt. So she knelt more. When she tied her shoes. When she filled his bowl. When she spoke to him. He watched her hands. The way they moved. The way they paused. Sometimes, he would walk over and rest his chin against her knee. Not asking. Not demanding, just checking that she was still there. One afternoon she dropped a glass. It shattered. The sound cracked the air. Rowan froze. His body stiffened, ears back, breathing fast. Lena didn't rush him. She crouched, spoke low. "It's okay." He did not come to her, but he did not retreat. His tail flicked once. She cleaned the glass slowly, letting him see. Nothing else was breaking. That night he slept. Not deeply, but enough. His breathing smoothed out. His legs stretched. His ears stopped twitching at every sound. On the fourth day he wagged his tail. Once, when she came out of the shower, he didn't jump, didn't bark, just wagged, as if marking progress. They found a rhythm. Morning walk, food, sunlight, quiet, evening walk, dinner, couch, silence that felt companionable, not empty. Lena noticed something in herself too. She slept through the night. She cooked instead of reheating food. She spoke out loud again, not to fill space, but to share it. Rowan learned the word wait. He learned the sound of her laugh. He learned that doors opening did not mean leaving forever. Sometimes when she picked up her coat, his ears would tilt. He would stand, watch. She began sitting with him before going out. Just for a minute, hand on the floor, breathing. He stopped following her to the door. Instead, he waited on his blanket, trust replacing memory. One afternoon, she found him asleep in the bedroom, curled near the edge of her bed. Not on it, not far from it. A bridge. He dreamed. His paws twitched. A small sound left his throat. Not a whine, not a bark. Something softer. Lena watched him for a long time, then sat beside him. He did not wake. The vet said he was healthy, underweight, anxious, but stable. Time will do most of the work, the vet said. Time did. Slowly, quietly. Rowan's tail lifted higher. His steps grew lighter. He explored the hallway, then the kitchen, then the couch. One morning he jumped up beside her. Not suddenly, carefully. Saturday. Looked at her face. She rested her head against his. Not pressing, just touching. They stayed like that for a moment. No sound, no rush. Healing did not arrive like a miracle. It arrived like a routine, like food at the same hour, like the same street corner, like knowing where the water bowl was. Rowan still waited sometimes, when she was in another room, when the house went quiet. But the waiting was different now. It wasn't fear. It was patience. Lena still missed her mother, still missed her old dog, but the ache felt held, shared, like a weight distributed between two bodies. On a late afternoon walk, the sky turned orange. Rowan stopped in the middle of the sidewalk, looked up at her. His ears relaxed. His mouth opened slightly. Not a pant, a soft release. Lena smiled. "You're okay," she said. He wagged his tail. Once, then again. Not because he was fixed, not because the past was gone, but because the present was safe. Spring arrived quietly, not all at once, just small signs. Longer light in the mornings, warmer air through open windows, the smell of rain instead of frost. Rowan noticed first. He stood at the window longer, watched birds gather on the wire outside, listened to wind move through the trees. His ears lifted at new sounds, not in alarm, in curiosity. Lena watched him from the kitchen, coffee in her hands, sunlight on the counter. He looked different now, not braver, not louder, just present. His tail rested higher when he walked. His steps no longer hovered at the edge of rooms. He moved through the apartment like he belonged there, because he did. Their walk stretched farther, past the mailbox, past the broken tree branch, toward the small park at the end of the street. Rowan stopped often, sniffed the grass, watched children on bikes, followed leaves when the wind pushed them across the path. Lena let him set the pace, sometimes slow, sometimes curious, never rushed. One afternoon, they sat on a bench near the pond. Rowan lay at her feet, chin on his paws, watching ducks ripple the water. Lena closed her eyes, listened to the sound of wings, to the faint hum of traffic, to Rowan's breathing. Even, steady. She remembered the shelter hallway, the metal bars, the whine. How small the world had felt then. "How did you know?" she asked quietly. Rowan lifted his head, looked at her. His ears tilted. Not confusion, attention. She smiled. "I didn't mean it like that." He lowered his head again, satisfied. People passed. Some smiled. Some didn't notice. Rowan didn't lean into her leg anymore. He didn't need to. He stayed close without touching, independence growing like a second layer of fur. At home he slept through the night, dreamed less loudly. His paws still twitched sometimes, but his breathing stayed smooth. The waiting had softened. He waited when she left for work, but he no longer listened for the door in panic. He rested, trusted the return. Lena noticed herself changing too. She opened the curtains in the morning. She played music again, not to fill silence, but because silence now had shape. Rowan learned the sound of her keys in the lock, not as a warning, as a promise. One evening a storm came. Rain drummed on the roof. Thunder rolled low and distant. Rowan lifted his head. Listen. His body tensed. Just a little. Lena sat on the floor near him. Not touching. Just near. "It's just weather," she said. He watched her, then lay back down. His tail tapped the floor once. Trust had replaced memory, not erased it, rewritten it. In softer ink. They didn't talk about meaning. They lived it. In bowls filled at the same time each day. In walks taken no matter the weather. In the way Rowan checked the door before lying down. In the way Lena sat before leaving. A small ritual. A shared breath. One Sunday they visited the shelter. Not to look. Just to drop off blankets. The hallway smelled the same. Soap and fur. The radio played low. A volunteer smiled. "You're the one," she said. Lena laughed softly. "I think he is." Rowan walked beside her. Not pulling. Not shrinking. He glanced at the kennels. Then back at her. The last kennel was empty. A different dog inside now. Watching the world with uncertain eyes. Lena felt a familiar ache. Not pain. Memory. Rowan leaned into her leg. Not grounding. Not fear. Companionship. They didn't stay long. Outside the air felt bigger. Rowan sniffed the sidewalk. Marked a post. Looked up. Ready to go home. That night Lena found an old photo. Her mother in a chair. Her old dog at her feet. She held it for a long time. Rowan lay beside her. Not curious. Not restless. Just present. "I think you found me through her," she said. Rowan lifted his head. Listen. Not understanding the words. Understanding the tone. Understanding the pause. She placed the photo on the shelf. Not hidden. Not central. A place of balance. Time kept moving. Rowan grew stronger. Gained weight. His coat shone in the sun. His eyes lost their edge. He learned new paths. New smells. New rhythms. But some things stayed. He still liked it when she knelt. He still followed her voice. He still chose to be near. Not because he needed to. Because he wanted to. One evening they sat on the couch. Rowan's head rested against her leg. Full contact now. No hesitation. Lena stroked behind his ear. Slow. Deliberate. The way people do when they're not afraid to stay. "I don't think you chose me," she said softly. Rowan's eyes closed. "I think you remembered something." His tail moved once. Then stilled. Outside the streetlight flicked on. Inside the room stayed warm. Not dramatic. Not perfect. Just steady. They had not saved each other from disaster. There had been no sudden rescue. No crisis. No heroic moment. There had been recognition. And patience. And time. A dog who sensed safety in a shape he knew. A woman who found purpose in being that shape again. The bond didn't announce itself. It grew. Quietly. Like spring. And in that quiet, it became unbreakable. Not because it was magical, but because it was chosen. Every morning, every walk, every return home, Rowan lifted his head, looked at Lena. She smiled. And the world for both of them felt like a place they could stay.